Today is the first Sunday of Eastertide, which is the time after Easter when we anticipate the mystery of Pentecost. And so our underlay today is white because we're still celebrating Easter. On the first day of knowing Jesus in a new way, there were 3 Marys who went to the tomb to bring spices for Jesus' body. Mary Magdalene seemed to lead the way. There was also Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary, the mother of James. Mary Magdalene was not a mother, but she was a true and good friend. The women were worried about how they would enter the tomb with the large stone that would cover the door. But when they got there, the stone was already rolled away. The women rushed inside to see Jesus' body, but it was gone. All that was there was a white linen cloth. The women rushed back to find the disciples and tell them what they had seen, but most of the disciples did not believe them. But Peter, being Peter, decided to rush to the tomb to see things for himself, and John went along with him. Some say that John beat him there, but they both went inside the tomb and saw that Jesus was really gone. But they could still feel his presence, even though his body was not there. Peter and John went back, but Mary Magdalene stayed, weeping outside of the tomb. She heard 2 men say, "Woman, why do you weep?" She said, "They have taken my Lord away." And they said, "Jesus is not here. He has gone ahead to Galilee. Tell the disciples to meet him there." Mary stayed a while longer, and she heard another voice say, "Woman, why do you weep?" She thought, "This man must be the gardener." And she said, "If you've seen where they've taken him, tell me, and I will go find him." Then he said her name, Mary, and she knew that it was he. She ran back to tell the disciples what she had seen and heard. That afternoon, 2 of Jesus' friends were walking on the road to Emmaus. They were talking about all the things that they had heard and seen, the cross, the empty tomb. What could this all mean? A stranger came and walked with them. They didn't pay much attention until he said, "What are you talking about?" "Are you the only one in Jerusalem who hasn't heard about these things? The cross, the empty tomb, don't you know?" And the stranger said, "You're foolish and slow of heart. Let me explain these things to you. Do you remember when our ancestors were in Egypt? They were trapped, but God set them free, bringing them through the water. Do you remember when they were trapped in the desert and God gave them the 10 Commandments to guide them? Do you remember when they were trapped in exile and a prophet said that a little child would lead them, would die for them to give them new life?" They continued talking until suddenly they were already there to Emmaus. The stranger wanted to go ahead, but the friends of Jesus asked him to stay with them for the night. When they sat down to have a meal, the stranger broke the bread and gave it to them. And suddenly their eyes were opened and they realized that it was Jesus who had been walking with them the whole time. And suddenly Jesus was gone. Jesus' friends said, "This must be why our hearts were burning within us when we talked with him." And they went back down the road to Jerusalem to tell the disciples what they had seen. Now, if you were here in the room with me, I would ask you to find something that could add to these stories, something that would help us understand them more. You can think about that, maybe tell the person that you're with what you would take from our shelves and put here. But I'm just going to have to guess what you might say. Maybe you thought about Mary, the mother of Jesus, and you would want to take Mary from the Holy Family and put her here. Maybe you would think about how Jesus is risen, and you would want to take the risen Jesus from the Holy Family. We remember how Jesus, the baby Jesus, is holding out his hands to hug you, and the risen Jesus holds out his arms to love the whole world. Maybe somebody would want to find one of the beautiful Easter eggs that we learned about, with all the colors and designs that show us how much we rejoice the mystery of Easter. Maybe you would even grab the entire story of the 10 best ways, because Jesus talked about how God led them through giving them the 10 commandments. All of our stories are connected, and so there are so many things that you could add to this story, and there's so much work that you can do today. As always, I have an activity sheet for you in the description of this video. There are many things that you could do, and only you know what is right for you.